I'd like to call this February 4th, 2020 meeting to order of the Oldsmar City Council. First two items on the agenda is our invocation and pledge of allegiance, which will be led by our city attorney, Mr. Tom Trask. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, we seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We pray that our work this evening will find favor in your sight. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I don't know about y'all, but I always like it when we're saying the pledge and I can hear the kid's voice kind of over the top. It's just like, all right, setting the right vibe, setting the right vibe. Hey, before we start, I want to recognize the guests that we have in the audience. Past Mayor Doug Beavis, is here with us tonight. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Citizens Open Forum. We only have a few rules. One, that there is a public hearing later on in the agenda, which is going to be item number 10. Item number 10. So if you have any comments on that, we ask that you wait till we get. As well. Excuse me?
There's also a public hearing, item number 2.
Snyder here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Item 2 and 10. So we ask that when we get, you hold your comments on those items till we get to them. Other than that, you're free to speak about anything you wish on the agenda or in general. The only rules we have is you have 5 minutes. That's it. We have a timekeeper. She gets really mad when you go 5 minute, 1 second. Not really. She's too nice. But we ask that you give your name and your address and please include your city. So tonight I'm going to start on this side of the room, and I'm going to start with Amanda Butler, who is our poet laureate, and I know she's got some follow-up homework for us tonight. Yeah.
I do. Amanda, 135 East Lake Club Drive, Oldsmar, Florida, 34677. So February is one of my favorite months in terms of poetry because it is National Haiku Month. So that'll be, that's a little spoiler for the poems that I brought in today. But before I get into that, who brought in poems for the previous challenge? The previous challenge that I gave you in January was write about your 2020 vision or your goals for the coming year.
All right. Let's go. Who's got it? Raise your hands. Oh, the mayor has one.
The mayor's got one.
Oh, Councilmember Norris. Oh, and Norris. All right. So who shall we call on?
I know you said you wanted to read your poem, so why don't we start with you?
Are you going to read theirs?
I know I'm reading Dan's. Am I reading yours, or are you
No, I'm
reading
going to
yours?
read it. It won't take long.
Okay. I'll go first. Okay, mine is called Kindness is Key. In this world of stress, conflict, and strain, I come alive when I reroute my brain. Kindness is the divine sparkle, the radiance, that elevates my soul and lifts me from darkened events. I breathe it in as if it were my life's blood, my body's fuel, for it is always an antidote to anything cruel. I plant its seeds in a garden of love, then cultivate and raise with help from above. I share its bounties with all that I touch. Being its branches, its mirror, is not asking much. Kindness is my goal, my 2020 vision. For unity will always triumph over division.
Nice. Very good. Very.
Prayer that I always say, because it's a plaque in my dining room, and it says, Lord, keep your arm around my shoulder and your hand over my mouth. And that's how
I would like you to print that out. Put it really big where the mayor can have a sign sometime. Just to, purely for the purpose of the Lord keeping his arm around you, of course. After hearing hers, I lost mine. Because, all right, here it goes. 2020, the year of seeing. Goals are nice, actions speak louder. It's more than the thought from within. It's the results I'll see from the outer. Hard work, focus, and might is what a team needs to make it turn out right. When the year is over and done, I hope we will all be sitting rooftop while watching the sun. Another shameless plug for downtown. Okay, what can I say? Are you reading yours?
I like when Amanda reads mine. Is that okay, Mayor?
Yes, it is.
All right, so this poem is called 2020 Goals by Councilmember Dan Saraki. 2020, the future awaits. Downtown Oldsmar, no doubt in my mind. Practice to be a listener, no voice will be unheard. Practice to be patient, breathe, slow down, and be considerate to all. Travel to Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. will be completed. Oldsmar represented in the Capitol and White House. President of the Suncoast League of Cities, a dream has come true. Poland is on the radar, meet my family from many moons ago. Spend as much time with my grandchildren as possible. Teach them to have big dreams and never stop.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, Amanda.
Good.
So I brought in 3 haiku poems to share with you today. Spring spiders, child's playhouse, webs in windows. Gator's tail splashes lake at the moon. Spanish moss, waves and humidity, spring in Florida. Now, I'm sure that after me bringing up haiku so many times, you have already guessed what the challenge for the next month will be. The challenge will be to just write a haiku. And usually a haiku is just 3 lines, and it's about nature, or it includes a season, maybe
3
an
lines,
animal.
that sounds like all of my poems.
So if you noticed, with the haiku that I read today, they do not have to be in the 575 syllable format. I know that's something that is drilled into students at school. Usually a haiku has 3 lines, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. However, because the haiku originates in Japan, the Japanese language does not count syllables in the same way as the English language. So you do not need to stick to any syllable count when writing your haiku. Any questions?
I am in such trouble.
Just 3 lines. 3
We're just
lines about
learning how
nature.
to write poems, and now I gotta write
really
haikus.
drilled into me in grade school, the 575 thing. I remember that for forever.
Of course
Yep.
you do. Of course you do,
You don't
Gannon.
remember poetry in high school and stuff?
Oh, yeah, I remember it. I'm a little older than you.
3 lines of poetry.
3 lines, thank you. I can do
cursive
better.
3
writing
lines
then,
of
right?
poetry. And I want to finish just by saying that every first and third Saturday of the month, I host Project Poetry at the Oldsmar Library from 1 to 2 p.m. The next meeting will be on February 15th, and everyone is welcome. So,
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. We had a lot of fun with that. I think Mayor Beavis was the one who started that. But you weren't, it wasn't all complicated then, was it? That's right. All right, we got anybody else on this side of the room? Come right up.
My name is Mary Ann Cruz, 1708 Ironwood Court East, Oldsmar, Florida, where you're fixing the roads right now. We can't get in and out my street. But I just want to thank everybody for coming to the 2nd Annual Women's Club Superthon. But we have a special award for Mayor Seidel, if you would come down, please.
Did you eat
13.
13 bowls?
13 bowls? Oh my God. 14.
I'm not normally called out by the women's club.
Well, we appreciate that you are a big supporter of the Women's Club, and we're giving you a certificate which has the Iron Stomach Award. And you bravely sampling 14 cups of soup on January 25th, 2020. And thank you so much.
Yeah, we did have fun.
That's for next year.
I have another hat. I am the board secretary for the Oldsmar Historical Society. This Saturday, we're having a picnic. We'd like to invite the mayor and the city council and city of Oldsmar to come to this picnic to meet the volunteers and to sign up to be a membership. So please come on down at Ariel's Park between 11:30 and 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just
Good
so you
job.
know, I'm grilling.
You're grilling.
Hot dogs
the
and
picnic.
hamburgers, lots of them.
Well, I'm not eating 14 of them. I'm just not even with you. Thank you. Thank you. It was a great event. It was a lot of fun. Bring the Tums. Do I have anybody else on this side of the room? Seeing none, I'm going to go to this side of the room. Do I have anybody? Man, this side of the room is really well behaved. I like that. All right, we're going to go ahead and close the Citizens Open Forum. Next item on the agenda is the Community Minute, which will be announced by our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
Composting 101, Oldsmar Sustainability Team and the Oldsmar Organic Community Garden are co-hosting this class. Learn the basic of what, when, and where of composting, Saturday, February 8th, 10 to 11 at the Organic Garden at Bicentennial Park. Registration is required, and you can get the link through the calendar at myoldsmar.com or through oocg.org. Historic Pinellas, photographic presentation of historical sites and building in Pinellas County. Discussion of history of sites, how they were used in the past, and their present function. This is free, Saturday the 8th from 2 to 3. So after you're done learning about composting, you can figure out the history of it. And it's at Oldsmar Public Library, and for more information, go to oldsmarlibrary.org. And also Opal Theater, remember Lion King Jr.? Well, now they're going to be taking on Disney's Aladdin Jr. And there's a call for auditions for Opal Theater's May presentation. The ages are 8 and over, and it's Monday, February 10th, 7 to 9 at Cypress Forest Rec Center. And then, of course, my kids don't want it. What do? Learn 15 tips and strategies designed not only to help you deal with your stuff, but hopefully help you make some good money while selling it. Presented by auctioneer and antique appraiser Mike Ivankovich. Free, Friday, February the 14th, Valentine's Day, 1 to 3 at Oldsmar Public Library. And I think it's pretty cool that on Valentine's Day, you can learn how to get rid of stuff you don't love.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I would discourage anyone from going there looking for a gift, though. That could be bad. That could be bad. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of additional new agenda items. The only new item we have is item 4. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, awards and recognition. Our city manager, Al Braithwaite, will be presenting item number 1. It is the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for fiscal year ending 9/30/2018. The team is crushing it. Oh, yeah.
It's heavy. Well, the mayor mentioned this is the Government Finance Officers Award Certificate of Achievement for the fiscal year ending 2018, and the award recipients are the Administrative Services Department. You want to come up?
Yeah.
Yay!
As some of you know, these are my guys. I came from this side of the house. You want to show that off since it's heavier than me? That's going some. So let me give you a little background about what this is. The Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada has awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to the City of Oldsmar for the city's comprehensive annual financial report, which is also known as the audit, for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2018. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. This is the 28th year in a row that the city has earned the prestigious national award. So, for the most part, Cindy and I have been here 20 years, and One of our mentors and predecessors, Marnie Burns, who has since retired, was instrumental in getting that started back in the early 1990s. And Cindy's taken it the rest of the way. This is really a great award. There's a standard set in the country, and it applies to the country and Canada each year. Good point. Every year you have to submit the audit to a series of reviewers that are government finance professionals that review it. And if you know finance people, can I say this kindly? They're picky as you know what. So there's a board of finance reviewers that review the document every year. And mostly thanks to Cindy and her staff, we've been getting this award, as I mentioned, for a long, long time. I'll give you a quick news release, and then I'll let Cindy introduce the staff. It comes with a news release. The mayor had mentioned this, the meeting after we were notified that we received it again. Always good news. Comes out of Chicago, Illinois. Certificate of Achievement for the Excellence in Financial Reporting has been awarded to the City of Oldsmar by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada for its comprehensive annual financial report. And as I mentioned previously, the Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting. An award of financial reporting achievement has been awarded to the individuals or departments designated by the government as primarily responsible for preparing the award-winning CAFR. And since Cindy has been the Director of Administrative Services, she would be the logical person to be on the award, and she refused to do that. She instead named the department, which I think is quite selfless and well-deserved. They're all a pain. The CAFR has been judged by an impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the CAFR. So congratulations, and I hope you have a few words, and maybe you can introduce the staff.
Thank you, Al. First of all, we couldn't do it year after year without your inspiration, so thank you for giving me the staff and the opportunity.
That means I'm a pain, too.
I know that a lot of the staff think we're kind of a pain to them, but you know that's how we get the award every year. We strive for perfection, and so does the staff. And anyway, I'd like to introduce our very outstanding staff. Amy Ratliff, she's our accounting administrator. She's our numbers person. John Dauphiné is our management analyst. He does a lot of the work on the notes. If you go through the notes in the CAFRA, you'll see a lot of John's Sandy work. Sandy Winkler, she's behind the scenes. She's pulling all the numbers together, checking everything, making sure everything's absolutely correct. Garrett Zieliff, he's does a lot of the notes and a lot of the number analysts. So as a team, they are the best. So this is really their award. So, want to say anything?
I just want to say thanks to a great team, and it's a labor of love for sure. So we had dinner on our way here, and we were talking that this is the award for 17-18, and we are knee deep in doing the CAFR for 18-19, and we're in 19-20 fiscal year, so I never know what year we are. Literally, I have to stop and think when I date something what year it actually is. So thanks to a great team.
I just want everybody to visualize what happens when they all go out to dinner when the check comes. This is, in my 35 years, best ever.
Best ever.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can stay here. They can't see me right now. One more.
Harry even brought up his legal pad. He's raising
Congratulations. I'll tell you,
You playing Thursday?
you hear about transparency in government, and if you've ever really picked up the CAFR and started reading it, I think for most people who aren't familiar with that type of document would have a difficult time reading it, quite honestly. And so the fact that the people who judge this and who certified, for lack of a better word. They are experts at it. And it certainly speaks volumes to the way that our city government is run. And, the byproduct, when I look at the budget, which is another document that is very user-friendly. And I love the story. The budget, I had all these questions, and as I read on, every one of my questions were answered. So I had already sent an email and didn't need to, but that's the kind of work they do. So it's greatly appreciated by your council and this mayor and our citizens as well. So give them another round of applause. Next item on the agenda is the Community Redevelopment Agency. I'll remind the council that we're actually sitting right now as the CRA. And the next item on the agenda, item number 2, request council's approval of a site plan SP 1905, construction of 3,200 square foot, one-story physician office building. This is a public hearing. I'm going to defer this item to our city attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Thank you. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, so anybody that's going to speak tonight, I need you to stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn under oath. Anyone that's going to speak. You can hold up your right hand and be sworn under oath. You swear the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. We finally, okay. Was that a yes back there?
Yes, okay.
All right. So now would be staff presentation. Marie, are you ready to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Marie Daphne, Planning Redevelopment Director. So this is a request for site plan approval. It's to construct a 3,200 square foot physician's office. It's located in the town center commercial neighborhood district, and it's approximately a half an acre. It's also in the community redevelopment area for land use. The property is located on the southeast corner of State Road 580 and Bayview Boulevard. There's a 20-foot alley in the rear of the property. And it consists of 4 properties. There's 9 platted residential lots. They're small lots. They're 25 by 100. It was previously developed with a single-family home, and the council or the Community Redevelopment Agency approved a site plan previously for a restaurant. This restaurant was never constructed, but he did obtain a building permit, so any of the variances that were approved for that site plan have continued with the property. So there's a view from the property to the west, property to the east, and you can see property located to the southwest and to the south and the southeast. So as I said, the property is zoned town center commercial neighborhood, a floor area ratio of 1 and impervious surface ratio of 0.80. A physician's office is a permitted use in the TCCN district, and that is what this building will be. So you can see the access. It'll be a new access from State Road 580 into the site, and an exit only onto Bayview Boulevard. Oops, sorry. There's 20 spaces provided for the site. The site requires 6.5 per thousand, so that they get a 10% reduction in parking. So 19 are required and 20 have been provided. Previously, there was a variance approved for the sidewalk along State Road 580. The code requires a 10-foot wide sidewalk, and the variance that was approved that continues with the site is 6 feet. And there's a 5-foot sidewalk along Bayview. The 6-foot sidewalk will connect with the existing sidewalk, so it'll be continuity. The elevations of the physician's office: south side view, north side view, west. And so this site will be, they're proposing to be contemporary eclectic. That has not been adopted yet by the council. Later on in this meeting, we will bring that to the council for approval, and this will be contingent on the council approving that type of architecture. So the primary characteristics of contemporary architecture are a mix of glass, columns, and other architectural features, multi-level roofs, and its interspersed use of materials that complement the surrounding uses. Whoops, excuse me. So The staff recommendation is approval, subject to adoption of the City of Oldsmar Town Center Code amendments that include new contemporary eclectic architectural standards. And I'd like to enter the staff report into the record, and if there's any questions, I'm available to answer them.
Do any council members have any questions? Seeing none at this time.
I actually do have a
Okay,
question.
Councilmember Norris.
My question is, I see that there's a retention pond. I had a hard time seeing the small one, so Felicia was kind enough to give me a bigger one so I could see. My only concern on this is
There would be
it's-
questions, no statements until,
So the question, the question would be, has a soil test been done to check to make sure that our impervious surface is 0.8? So that means there's 20% pervious surface.
Correct.
Okay, so that means that there's gonna be a lot of water coming off the road, maybe, and then the way that it's gonna have to be built up, therefore it's gonna be higher than 140 and 142 Dartmouth, and then 200 Congress, the surrounding properties. So has a soil test been done to make sure that all the water that is now not gonna go into the grassy areas and the drains, is it gonna be good enough drainage so that the surrounding properties, homeowners and businesses, the 2 and 2, will it be permeable? I don't know the word, will it be porous enough? Will it be, because there's been problems with Oldsmar Cares right down the road.
Correct.
So that would be what I would want to know. Has there been any testing to make sure that we don't have those same issues at this building that we had at Oldsmar Cares?
Site plan has been approved. I want to defer to Public Works. Man, do you have anything that you want to? So, we've gone through all the, review and looked at the design criteria. It appears to meet it. There's a lot of problem sites in the town center. And this one, I think that we've learned from previous development in the town center that it should work.
And is the retention pond, is that what is designed to take all that water that's going to be coming off the roof and all the water that's not going to be sinking into that now? Is that what that's designed for?
It meets code right now, so,
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else have questions?
No, Mayor.
All right, thank you. No more questions for staff at this time. All right, this is a public hearing, and there were those who were sworn in.
the applicant go next.
I see. I apologize.
And then, then we go to the public hearing, okay.
Good evening. My name is David Bell with Landmark Engineering and Surveying Corporation, 8515 Palm River Road, Tampa, Florida, 33619. Just to answer your question, we designed it in accordance with the city standards as well as DOT drainage requirements. This pond mimics what was previously approved, but we actually hold more volume than what was done before. So in thinking about drainage, right now the site drains from the road, from the north to the south, right through the neighbors. Right now we have control structures in the pond, and we treat, provide water quality and attenuation, so extra storage before we discharge to Bayview. So we're actually probably eliminating or reducing greatly how much water actually goes to the neighbors.
Okay, great.
So
Yeah.
I'd be happy to answer any other questions. We respectfully ask for your approval.
Okay. Any questions? All right, thank you. None at this time. All right. At this time, any of those individuals who were sworn in would like to speak and address the council? Can you raise your hands? Okay, we'll go with you first. And please state your name and address for the record.
Certainly. Good evening, council. My name is Gina Vogel. I live at 140 Dartmouth Avenue in Oldsmar. I am the catty corner to where this plan is going through. And my concern is similar to Councilmember Norris with regards to the water issues. I saw there was no architect or any plan for that 20-foot easement between the property and my home as well as my neighbor's home. And right now it's all grass. And specifically behind my fence, if you look at the plan, I've been maintaining the property, the 20-foot. No one else is maintaining. I've had to do plants, I've had to do tree cutbacks, I've had tree removals with permit approvals from the city. It is a swamp back there when it rains. Any amount of rain we get, especially right behind my fence, is a swamp. And my concern is with regards to the concrete. Now, with regards to the elevations, it's going to flow over into that 20-foot easement, and there's no plan. So am I going to be, again, left alone to handle that 20-foot easement between now this commercial property as well as myself? And a similar concern for my neighbor who's been there even longer than I've owned the property since 2012. They've been longer, but they only have a clear fence. So mine is all white fence, so it's not really gonna be too much of an intrusion onto my privacy, but they have a clear fence. And the outlook of this commercial building, when these people exit their building, they're gonna be looking right through to the neighbor's sliding door, which I believe they have blinds and everything. But again, there's just no plan at all for that easement. So I guess my question is there a plan at this point that maybe we're not seeing because it's not part of their site exactly? And also, are the elevations such that the property is going to drain towards that pond instead of back through that 20-foot easement, where that easement right now cannot support the water flow that's already there? Then the other additional concern I had is this exit that's going to be going on to Bayview. I definitely understand why they would want the exit there, so they could turn left easily onto 580. And I'm not sure if the council has any way to manage this, but we have an issue turning left onto 580 from Bayview, especially at peak hours. And I understand, I read the peak hours of this commercial building is going to be 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. So it doesn't fall around the same times as the school peak hours, but usually from about 8:30 to about 10 a.m., we have trouble turning left. And if there's a number of people coming south on Bayview, a lot of times you can't turn left. And then because the turn lane is so short, that backs up and people can't go right either. And so it oftentimes provides a nice little cluster in that area. So I didn't know if that's something the council would be able to address or help correct that issue, especially with this extra egress onto Bayview that's going to be caused, especially around even 10 o'clock, which is somewhat of a peak hour for that traffic backup.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask staff, Marie, maybe to address, if you can, the question on the easement.
That easement, well, I really have to defer to the engineer as far as the easement. We haven't really, since it wasn't his property, you know, we just didn't want him to utilize that, but you want, is that all right to defer?
Again, David Bell, Landmark Engineering, 8515 Plum River Road, Tampa, Florida. We basically stated it's a platted alley. It's not an easement, so we were told to stay out of it. I mean, that's just something that we don't, since it's considered a right-of-way, it'd be city-owned property. I would like to just state that we do have landscaping, and we also provide on-site drainage. So we collect the drainage that comes on site, it goes to the pond, so it's not going towards the south. I think that's the key in this situation.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to continue on with thank you. I'm going to continue on with any public comments, and then from there we'll decide who we have come back up and comment once again. Anybody else wishing to comment? Dave.
Dave Tilkey, 505 Arlington Avenue East, Oldsmar. This question is, or comment is about this particular site, but also kind of a overreaching into the whole town center code, and it has to do with the parking. Now, I understand code says you get credit for any on-street parking, which on this particular site, there is none, but it also allows for a 10% reduction on top of that. And when the code was developed many years ago, that 10% was to allow for walking traffic. People either parking elsewhere, down the street, on-street parking, or in other parking lots, or just neighborhood walking traffic. I think in this case, I don't see any walking traffic. If this happens to be the doctor for somebody that lives that close, they're quite lucky, but I don't really think 10% of the clients are going to be walking to this place. But it's maybe something that needs to be looked at in the overall code, in that as we get out into the peripheral of the town center, the 10% really shouldn't apply, and maybe the code should be changed to read, if there is on-street parking, they'll get the reduction for the number of spaces abutting the property and a 10%. But if they don't meet, if there is no on-street, the 10% shouldn't apply. In this case, I think it only works out to one parking space anyway. It's minimal, but something that probably should be looked at in this case and in the code for future works.
Thank you, that's a good point.
Thanks.
Good point. Is there anybody else? Okay. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go to council comments. And so at this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve for the purpose of discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second discussion. Councilmember Gannon.
I had a question for our city attorney, actually. Can you explain to me the right-of-way or alley, or who owns it and who's responsible for managing that piece of property?
If it's a platted alley, it's the city's responsibility.
Okay.
It's not the responsibility of this homeowner or that property owner back there either.
Okay.
It's our responsibility.
To maintain it if it's grass, maintain it if it's paved, maintain it either way.
Correct.
Thank you for helping me understand that.
Are there any other questions?
Questions or discussion?
Discussion.
So yeah, my main concern is the drainage, only because I've seen it firsthand in my home with the buildings being built on either side of me, and it's not, and then the whole Oldsmar Cares, where they are taking care of it. So they are doing what the city is asking them to do to mitigate the water drainage issues with the homes behind them. And I drove around the neighborhood. I was by your house, yeah, because I was looking and I saw how it was sloped down. So, I mean, the retention pond makes me feel better, but I'm still a little concerned about what about the water that's going to come off the back? Is the water going to all go into the front, or is some of the water going to come into the back? So, but if they've done the testing and they're willing to, if anything does occur, like Oldsmar Cares is taking care of theirs, then I just wanted on the record that I am concerned about that being an 80%. God bless you.
Bless you.
How much that? Impervious surface value. I do like that our new contemporary eclectic is being used. It's kind of got a Frank Lloyd Wright look to it, which with the different roofs, I like that. And I actually am very happy that you are planting more trees than you're taking down. So that there's crepe laurels, laurel oaks, that makes me happy. So really, the only thing I want on record is that the drainage is the only thing that I have a concern about. So I hope it won't be a problem.
Very good. Councilmember
Yeah.
Saraki.
Thank you, Mayor. Two things. I like the idea of having the drain pond in the front. I like that better than having it in the back like we did in Oldsmar Care. That's a point. The second thing, now that Tom has confirmed that the alleyway is the responsibility of the city, does that mean we're going to take care of it, Al? Because the resident said she's been taking care of it for 20 years.
Let me, I was going to direct to Al on that
okay.
when we get done, if
That's
you
what
don't
I
mind
was going to
waiting.
do. I can wait for that for you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I had.
That's all you got? Anybody else? So I have a couple of comments and points to make. Number one, as it relates to the maintenance of the easement, and every area, there's some different mitigating circumstances, right? So it's not a carte blanche statement, but I will defer to staff to respond to that after I'm done with my next comments, apparently, while they're in conference. The one thing that I would say is, as it relates to drainage, which is a legitimate concern, clearly the retention pond is intended to address that issue. That isn't there today. Now, when you start to look at the amount of watershed that's going there right now, it has nowhere to go. So I am confident in saying that the staff, especially, we do have a recent event with someone else on that road a little bit further down who is having to address it because it's proven to be inadequate. And so I have a higher confidence level in this, and when I saw the retention pond, that it's being addressed on the front end. Likewise, I would say this, I can only assume that, as was the case in the other location down the street, when it proved that the solution was not adequate, there was another revisiting of forcing that to be made right. And so I'm going to have the same confidence in staff's recommendation based on some history there. But it stands to reason. They're putting in a retention there to address that issue on the front end. They're also putting it in a place that I think probably makes it less of an eyesore to the neighborhood. And I will say this, it is a commercial piece of property, right? And so it's properly zoned for this use. And now someone owns it who wants to exercise their right as a property owner. And so from that standpoint, a commercial facility is being put where it's planned to be, and when somebody invested the money, expected it to go. And so that, to me, is the council's responsibility to recognize the property owner's rights, that they're doing what is permitted within the TCCN. And so from that standpoint, I'm certainly going to support this. I would ask staff, though, to address in that particular area some of the maintenance and what might appear to be some maintenance neglect on our part. So I'll defer that to our city manager.
The alleyways are a bit of a unique animal, and Nan, could you come up and give us a little quick Reader's Digest version on how we treat those maintenance responsibilities? I think, to the mayor's point, in the other case that we were referring to, we made it clear in this particular case, they're not the property owner, but the leaseholder that built the structure, that it was incumbent upon them to make sure the drainage that was constructed worked properly. And since it didn't, we look back to them to make it right. That would essentially, or in effect, be the same thing we would do here. But can you give us a little primer on the alleyways and what our responsibilities are there?
I wasn't sworn in, so I was hesitant to speak.
You swear the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Nan Bennett, Public Works Director. For the most part, we don't maintain the alleyways. There aren't a lot of them, and they aren't regularly maintained throughout the city. Most of them are not on the mow schedule. If cars drive through them regularly, that usually will take care of the mowing issue. But much like the tree lawns that are within our right-of-ways, we maintain the improved roadways, but we don't mow every green space of right-of-way that the city, manages for the public use.
So to Ms. Vogel's point, if we've been neglecting something in that space, that was our responsibility to handle. We will handle it. If it's caused by the construction of the other building, we would look to them to make it right as well. But that's why I asked her to comment on the.
Does the applicant understand that?
Responsibility.
Yes? Is that a yes? Good. Right? You're welcome. Thank you.
Just need to make sure that motion was staff recommendation. I think it was just a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll
pull it up real quick. Yeah. All right. Are there any other comments?
Before we vote, I have to, I've spoken to Dr. Sanderson is one of my positions, and I had a conversation with our city attorney, Tom Trask, to see if there was any reason why I had to recuse myself, and we went through everything, and he said no, so I just wanted to be public that I do know him, and it will not affect my vote.
Fair disclosure, you have no financial gain in this.
No, I didn't even know until yesterday. I read over.
Well, and I'm also going to say this as a side comment, and that is, you know, I'll tell you what made me nervous in that spot, a restaurant.
And that's what it's gonna be.
And as much as I would have loved to have seen another restaurant in Oldsmar, that made me nervous there, because we're talking about traffic from a restaurant versus a doctor's office that is a good-looking building they're putting there. I like it, you know. That all being said, there's apples and oranges. I don't believe that there's going to be any kind of massive traffic, even though I'm sure they are wildly successful. I don't envision that to be the case, and am I finding it here? Yeah. There's some, all right, so the chair at this time will entertain a motion. I believe there was a motion on the floor already.
I had made a motion for discussion purposes.
Can you restate that?
Amend my motion to approve the construction of the 3,200 square foot, one-story physician office building as presented in the site plan.
Second?
Subject to the adoption of the City of Oldsmar Town Center Code amendments that include the new contemporary eclectic architectural standards.
Exactly as he said it.
That's right, subject to. All right, there is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Norris?
Yes.
Councilmember Starkey?
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor
Gannon?
Vice Mayor Gannon. Mayor Seidel.
Yes.
Site Plan 1905, the construction of 32 square foot, one-story physician office building is approved with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. And thank you for coming out. Okay. Next item on the agenda, item number 3, approved minutes from the January 23rd, 2020 City Council CRA work session. Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Sensen, you're ready to vote? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item number 4, review Oldsmar Town Center concept plan, which is a new agenda item. I asked this be added to the agenda, so let me speak to it. You might recall at the workshop, there was a consensus to remove the zip line from the concept plan that's been approved. And so in order for that to officially happen, anytime that we collectively decide in a workshop environment that we're going to make a change, the proper process in my mind is that we bring it back here so we can officially vote on that and make that change, because we're always going to work from that approved concept plan. And so while we did that in a workshop, that doesn't make it official, although we did have 100% consensus, even though I kind of like a zip line, but I still relented in any event. So the chair will entertain a motion to revise the approved Oldsmar Town Center concept plan to remove the current zip line proposed.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Good.
Zip on, right? Okay.
Zip off.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Sensen, you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. We're now returning to our seats as City Council. Our next item on the agenda is the consent docket. Consent docket, there's only one item, but I'm going to defer to our, in keeping with my practice, I will defer to our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
Item number 5, approved minutes of the January 21st, 2020 City Council meeting.
You read that so well. Normally there's a list, right? So at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve.
Moved.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the City of Oldsmar. Item number 6, presentation of proclamation for National 211 Day in Oldsmar, and I will call on Councilmember Grimes for this special presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. National 211 Day. Whereas every day, residents and visitors contact 211 to assess free and confidential crisis and emergency counseling, disaster assistance, food, healthcare and insurance assistance, stable housing and utility payment assistance, employment services, veteran services, and childcare and family services. Whereas 211 provides expert caring, help by listening, identify underlying problems, and connecting people in need with resources and services in their community that improve their lives. And whereas 211 meets real needs in real time. In 2019 alone, all 211s across the U.S. answered almost 11 million calls and almost 1 million texts, chats, and emails, helping millions of people with life-changing support. In Pinellas County, 211 handled 121,289 requests for assistance and provided $1,281,425 in financial assistance to those in need to prevent evictions and ensure sustainability of water and electric for our most vulnerable residents. And whereas 211 has its finger on the pulse of our community's greatest needs, providing health and human service, trend data to local community partners, and whereas 211 makes the social services ecosystem more efficient by ensuring people in need are connected to community services that can help them. Now, therefore, I, Sandy Grimes, on behalf of Eric Seidel, Mayor of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim February 11th, 2020 to be National 211 Day in Oldsmar, and to urge our fellow citizens to join in this special observance.
Good job.
Come on up. Would you like to say anything? By all means.
A few things.
Go ahead, give it. Yeah.
So, thank you so much to the mayor, the entire city council, as well as the entire city of Oldsmar. You're joining together with over 240 211 centers across, communities across the United States, recognizing it. And, 211 as the first call for people who need help. Having special proclamations like this really give an avenue to everyone who's here, anyone who's listening, that if they are struggling and don't know where to turn for help, that they always can just remember those 3-digit number, 211, and give a call to us. We are here tonight. We're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, answering. We're always there every moment of every day. So thank you again for, in Oldsmar, we handled almost 400 calls from the Oldsmar area this past year. And we hope to continue to be able to be there. So thank you so much for all your support. And for the many years the city of Oldsmar has supported 211. So thank you so much.
Introduce yourself.
Tell us who you are.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. They said introduce myself. I apologize. Yeah. Mickey Thompson. I'm the president CEO of 211 Tampa Bay Cares. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So Mickey and her team does an amazing job here. It's one of those things where, and we talk about this sometimes as elected leaders in terms of there's programs to help, and it's difficult to have a central point to connect the folks who need it. And so this is an amazing concept that makes it easy for someone who needs help to find that help. So please thank your team and all the good work that your organization does. We do appreciate you. Thank you for being here too. Next item on the agenda, item number 7, approve reappointment of Rhonda Coy to the Code Enforcement Board. Where's Rhonda?
So approved, thank you.
I love it.
And had.
I love it.
Rhonda, did they tell you about the new dance that we have the appointments doing?
I can do it, no problem.
She's ready. She's ready for this.
You're the first who's ever said that, I have to tell you.
Well,
Does anybody have
don't
any
ask Tom.
questions? You know, we like to have people come back up. Rhonda didn't really need to come back up. We're glad that she did. We appreciate that, you know, showing that courtesy. But does anybody have any comments?
Just thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
And excellent attendance.
One meeting in the
Wait
last
a
2
minute,
years.
Sandy, you didn't answer your comment?
She's waiting because she's waiting till she's acknowledged. The other are just out of control. Council Member Grimes, would you like to comment?
It's a fabulous, fabulous decision.
We've been on the board a long time together, and it is a pleasure to serve for the city, and I really do encourage people to attend the Citizens Academy, get to know the city, get on some boards, and hopefully you can fit into the T-shirt.
There you go. There you go. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion. Grimes second. I have a motion from Grimes, seconded by Linda. That's how the chair saw it. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying Rhonda.
Rhonda.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, approve appointment of Rebecca Fitz as an alternate member of the Code Enforcement Board. Ugh. Hi.
Hello.
How are you? Are you ready to dance too?
I am ready, but except I have a sprained ankle.
Okay,
so-
well, that's good, because the second
put it off
one
till
we
the
always
next
make
thing.
sing. So we're ready for a tune. Just
My
bust
strong
it.
suit.
No?
I'll
Okay.
wait to do the dance.
All right. All right. Well, we appreciate you coming up here and appreciate you willing to serve. How long have you lived in the city?
I'm 18 years.
Wow.
And I just got my American citizenship just over a year ago. I love I love our little city, and I am kind of big on code enforcement. It's a passion and a pet peeve because code enforcement keeps our home values strong.
Yep.
And I decided I would step forward. Actually, a year ago, I emailed Kathy, and she emailed me a few weeks ago and said, "Are you still interested? We have a spot for you as an alternate." I said, "Yep, I'm ready."
Well, that's outstanding. Well, that's good. Does anyone on council have any questions?
Thank
No?
you.
No, thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you.
All right.
for
Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
Do I have a second? I have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying Rebecca. All right, motion passes.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Congratulations. Congratulations, and both of y'all, thank you for serving. It's, all right, we talk about our community boards all the time, but it literally doubles the size, all of our volunteers literally doubles the size of our entire staff. I mean, it's just, you know, when you put them together, that's why we are the city we are. Item number 9 is being pulled from the agenda, so I'm going to skip item number 9. Item number 10, city attorney.
So item number 10 is the public hearing for the first reading of ordinance 2020-01, and I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2020-01, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Section 6 of Appendix A, Architectural and Design Pattern Book of the Town Center Development Code to add architectural style guidelines for contemporary and/or eclectic architectural styles, to amend Section 7 of the Appendix A, Architectural and Design Pattern Book of the Town Center Development Code to require that architecture must incorporate a minimum of 3 primary characteristics, and providing for an effective date. That was a reading of ordinance 2020-01 by title only, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anybody from the public wish to speak on this matter? Okay, I'm going to start over here. Since you were here so early to speak, make sure you state your name and address, please.
I'm Kenneth Grant. I'm at 2301 Cumberland Circle, apartment 302, Clearwater, Florida, zip code 33763. Yeah, I'm here from the St. Petersburg College Public Policy and Administration program, as I think my counterpart is. But yeah, I'm speaking in support of this agenda item. I spoke with planning on Monday, and they were very, very helpful. And then I took a walk around downtown, and I don't think even it wouldn't actually present a major change or anything. I mean, there's the one doctor's office that'd be going in, and then after that, it takes several years for any project to go through and anything else. I mean, how many buildings are actually built in the development area every
I
year.
can't wait to respond when you're done. I'm glad you're here too, seriously.
Yeah. All right, and then, yeah, aside from that, it's not, as a style, it's not actually any different than most of the newer projects that were here, like 300 State Street is different only in as far as it doesn't have panels of wood on it. Otherwise, it's the same thing. Architectural decoration there stops at 1 story up before continuing on, and I've seen that for most of the other buildings I've seen. There have been a lot of successes with the town planning as it is, especially a lot of single-family homes. There's a really nice bungalow that looks spot on, but I can't really think of anything for this aside from that it's fine, it's good, it won't cause any major issues, and it'll take 10 years to see if it'll do anything poorly, so.
Very good.
Right, I can see the rest of my time, or?
You don't need to, I'm gonna give them the same time, but.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank you for
coming
being
from
here.
Clearwater and taking an interest in Oldsmar. That's nice.
Is there anybody else who have any comments from the public? I have a feeling you do over there, sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Evan Turner. My address is 103 2nd Avenue, St. Pete Beach, Florida. Like my friend over here, I'm in the Public Policy and Administration program at St. Petersburg College. I would like to speak briefly today in support of City Ordinance 2020-01, the proposed amendments to the Architectural and Design Pattern Book of the Town Center Code. As Oldsmar government officials have long understood, a town can benefit from clear and distinct guidelines that inform building development. I think that one of the strengths of Oldsmar's Architectural and Design Pattern Book is that it places reasonable limits on the extent to which structures can differ in architectural style from other buildings in the neighborhood. This consistency helps preserve Florida's architectural traditions and our town's sense of place. It is important that the guidelines are not too rigid, however, because this can discourage development. This is why I support the addition of the 6th architectural style category, which is contemporary/eclectic. This modest expansion of the range of acceptable architectural styles will give developers more creative freedom without substantially compromising Oldsmar's unique architectural style. Another reason that I'm so happy to speak in support of City Ordinance 2020-01 is that it provides clearer answers to the question of what constitutes adherence to the approved architectural styles. The introduction of a 3-element minimum is a positive for developers because it eliminates the need for guesswork with regards to how many of the elements of an architectural style must be present in order for a building to be deemed satisfactory. With regards to the establishment of an effective date, I encourage the council to enact these changes as soon as it is reasonable/possible. I would like to thank you all for your time and attention.
Thank you.
Outstanding, thank you, thank you.
Good.
Is there anybody else from the public who wishes to speak on this item? Is there anybody else?
Anybody?
The gentleman in the back.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Mayor. And I think it's great that St. Petersburg College continues to come to the city of Oldsmar. I remember that it started back, I believe, with Sophia from St. Petersburg College, and she had contacted me about coming up. You've come from Clearwater and St. Petersburg Beach, driven through a lot of cities, and it's great that they want to make the city of Oldsmar, and that our mayor is willing to work with them to make the city of Oldsmar part of their curriculum. And I hope that you go back and tell your fellow students and professors that we welcome St. Petersburg College to come anytime to any of our meetings and contribute. So hats off to the council and the students that want to come here and be a part of our city, and hats off to the mayor. And by the way, Sophia is a mom now, so she came.
Excuse me, sir, could you introduce yourself and give your address? It's good to be mayor sometimes.
So does that make all my comments null and void?
Yes.
It does.
You got nothing.
I used to like you, Tom.
Mayor, I think your comments are spot on.
Thanks. I just want to acknowledge, I wasn't going to say anything, but I think it's great that our youth want to come and be a part of it. I know it's part of their requirements, but it's nice that they picked the city of Oldsmar, and your comments are well taken. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said.
He really doesn't have anything.
I'm going to finish this item. Is there anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Saying none, I'm going to close the public hearing. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve for the purpose of discussion. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Discussion.
I'm excited. I love it.
Councilmember Saraki.
I thought it was him this time.
I think it was Gabby that was the one who brought this up at our
He
first
doesn't even
workshop.
instill
and
nothing.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Councilmember Gannon, did you have something you wanted to say? Because I didn't hear a word. I just heard buzzing over on this side of me. All joking aside.
I wanted to thank city staff for the tremendous effort put forth in creating these revisions and creating the sort of minimum standards and explaining to the council and helping us understand what's too much restriction and what's just a little bit, just enough to ensure compliance and not just lip service to our code. I think the students' comments were spot on, as our former mayor said, in that it gives guidance, it gives clear requirements without being too restrictive. I think that's super important. It does make me a little bit nostalgic, makes me want to call up Gabby and let her know that another style has been added
There you go.
to the
There you go.
architecture.
Do we have any other comments from council?
I think that the same thing. I mean,
Councilmember Norris.
Well, you asked her. You didn't ask me. You just
No, I
said from
did
council.
call on her.
Did you?
I waited to speak until spoken to.
And he said any more from council, not council member.
Councilmember Norris, do you have a comment relevant to her?
No, I just thought that Kenneth and Evan did a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking, Mayor Beavis, you're right. You're the one that started that? That's awesome. I didn't remember that. Yeah. And everything that they said is exactly like Vice Mayor Gannon said, it's spot on, and it does. It gives, it takes the guesswork out, a lot of the guesswork, and I'm excited to see that the very next project is a contemporary eclectic, and so that's nice that we added that. So I think it's all good.
I have to laugh because, if this failed and they already left, they're in for a big surprise. So I just think staff should mess with them a little bit.
Queen Anne.
That'd be unprofessional of me to,
Surprise.
unprofessional of me to say
Make 'em do
something.
Queen Anne.
Just a couple of quick comments from the mayor on this. Number one, I also appreciate the gentleman coming out and speaking. It's good. It's good for us. We really have worked to involve some of the architectural students in the area, in part because it gives a different view, kind of keeps it younger. We're building for the future. And as it relates to how long this will take to get implemented, you're not aware of this, but this council has been on a mission to build a downtown. And so, as a matter of fact, if you're around still, you hear us, well, no, we actually won't talk about it much, but, so part of the timing of this is envisioning what's going to get built in the property next to us, in the rest of the town center, because we identified that, times have changed, the pattern book hadn't, and so it was time to make some adoptions without being too restrictive to lose the creativity that might come before the council. So your comments, right in key, it was kind of a good check for us as a council member that we're focused on the right things. Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none. Sensing you're ready to vote. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to take roll call, please.
Councilmember Norris?
Yes.
Councilmember Saraki?
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Seidel?
Yes.
First reading of ordinance 2020-01, amending the architectural and design pattern book of the Town Center Code and providing for an effective date, passes with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Outstanding. City Manager, item 11.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 11 is request council approval to waive bid requirements and approve the annual purchase of polymer for the water reclamation facility to the KED Group Incorporated under the same terms and conditions as the City of Titusville, Florida. Bid number 19-B-042 on piggyback form 20-11. Polymer is a chemical with a proprietary formula used in the dewatering process of biosolids. Dewatering efficiency is dependent on the polymer formula and the unique chemistry of the biosolids being dewatered. Several polymers were jar tested using city biosolids, and this formula was the most efficient. The contract will be awarded under the same terms and conditions as the previously mentioned City of Titusville, Florida bid, and funding for this contract is in the Water Reclamation Facility annual operating budget in Fund 401, and staff recommends approval.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 12.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 12 is request council to approve the special event application fee waiver request for the annual Honor Our Heroes Memorial Run to be held on Saturday, May 23rd, year 2020. On Saturday, May 23rd, Oldsmar Cares Incorporated will host the annual Honor Our Heroes Memorial Run in Oldsmar. Oldsmar Cares is a valued civic organization that has provided support to the local community by funding programs such as stopgap rent and utility assistance, health screenings, financial assistance programs, employment services, a free food pantry, and a free clothes closet to those in need throughout the greater Oldsmar area. Profits from this race will be utilized by the organization to provide programs for veterans and first responders. The item requests the waiver of fees in the amount of $3,534, and staff recommends approval.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Great work. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 13 is request council to approve the special event application, including a fee waiver request for the Relay for Life of North Pinellas event to be held on April 3rd, year 2020. The American Cancer Society hosts this annual event at the Oldsmar Sports Complex as a fundraiser to support cancer research, education, advocacy, and patient services throughout the United States, including North Pinellas County. The event is free, open to the general public, and will take place on Friday, April 3rd. It will consist of teams and individuals, of which the city has one, walking together around the fields of the complex in the effort to generate financial support for the cancer research and patient service efforts of the organization. The amount of the waiver request for this event is $1,291, and staff recommends approval.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a comment.
Councilmember Saraki.
Back in 1998, when we had, I think it was the first one, we were able to camp out at the
Yep.
sports complex. Can we do that again, Al?
We're not planning on doing it, and that has a lot to do with the commitment it took on the part of the staff that was volunteering to host it for the time from roughly midnight through the morning. The numbers just kind of dwindled away. So they shortened it purposely to try and keep the enthusiasm and the numbers from being there. Ann, is there anything more that I should have said there?
No, that's pretty good.
So we did it at one time. Dave and Jennifer Young hosted it for years, and it's an incredible commitment for the overnight version, and the chapter for the North Pinellas area sometimes combines teams, and there just wasn't the numbers to make the event an overnight one.
Perfect. Thank you.
So the answer is yes, you can go stay the night, but no one will be there.
Right.
We'll leave the luminaries on for you.
That's it. Any other comments?
Well, back then, we also.
Councilmember Norris.
Wow. Back then, we also all signed up for a shift. It was like kind of
Yeah.
like, it was not mandatory, but everybody on the council signed up for a shift. So it was different then.
Yep, I was
Volunteering?
out there.
Are you volunteering?
I don't want to stay overnight. That was hard.
They don't do it overnight anymore, but any other comments?
Yeah.
Okay, I will say this, though. It's a terrific event, and our city staff puts a team together. And so certainly anybody can come who's on this council and be part of that team. I was out there last year as one of their speakers in the early part of it, and it was really well attended. And County Commissioner Eggers was out there as well with his wife. And so it's a really, really nice event. All right, sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item number 14.
Item 14 is adopt resolution 2020-01, revising the city's personnel policies and procedures manual And before I get into trouble, I'd like to read the resolution by title only. Resolution 2020-01, a resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, authorizing the city manager to revise the personnel policies and procedures, amending the general provisions, amending the section on definitions, amending the section on wages and pay plan, recruitment, probation and separation from city service, amending section on appointments, transfers, demotions, and reinstatements, amending the section on leaves of absence, amending the section on retirement, amending the section on tuition reimbursement, amending the section on safety, and amending the section on drug and alcohol policy, and providing for an effective date. That concludes the reading of Resolution 2020-01. I did ask the chair for maybe a little leeway here. I'd like to make a couple more comments, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
The background on this is that we have a manual that governs the way we operate on personnel rules, and it's very difficult to keep it current. So a lot of what we've proposed here, because we come back to council, is stuff that's already in place and needs to be codified, for lack of a better word. We did suggest a few changes. They are in large part overly positive, and I think they'll be perceived very well in terms of morale of the employees. And I wanted to point out specifically the one extra feature, which the mayor and I spoke about, which has the most potential financial effect, which is not significant, but it's the only one. And that was a recommendation I was making to add a floating holiday for the city employees. And the reason for me, because this is an old history thing, is that we currently do not have Veterans Day off as a citywide holiday. I want the city veterans, the veterans on my workforce, to be able to take Veterans Day off if they want it. And the reason we never did it before was because it was 7 of our 10 holidays fall between Thanksgiving and February 20th. So let's say, debates that I used to have with Bruce over this was, there was a decision not to honor the Veterans Day as a citywide holiday because that would make that 8 out of 11 in that short period of time in the calendar. So we used to have that discussion fairly frequently. So the other thing that happens with floating holidays a lot is that floating holidays, people sometimes like to take their birthday off, but my main purpose in recommending this was I wanted our veterans on our workforce to be able to take Veterans Day off if they choose to. The summary provided to the council, I think, is pretty comprehensive. I also provided the council with the strike-through version on Friday, so we've had individual discussions with each of you that wanted to ask more questions. Simply stated, I'm hoping that the council will adopt the resolution 2020-01. And I wanted to also most significantly point out that our human resource administrator, who's sitting back there patiently, Michelle Kutch, put in an incredible amount of work on this. She's been here a year and a half. She's been here a year and a half, and she's been working on this the whole time. We estimated about 150 work hours of staff time just to get this much, and we're not done yet. The book has 25 chapters in it. It's quite thorough. We went through every single one of them. Michelle did a fantastic job of asking every question, going through every chapter, researching other cities and what they did. And Michelle, thank you so much. We couldn't have done it without you. I know we're not done. We'll have to do it again. And this isn't a shameless plug, but if you're an employee of the city, today we had a health fair for what was the first time in my recollection. And Michelle single-handedly with Jen, her staff assistant, put that together, and it was fantastic. I got my walking in because I had to park 10 miles down the road at Cypress Forest just to get to the gym. The gym was packed full of the vendors. We had over 75 of our employees there. There was chair yoga, memory tests, chiropractic, free massage, PHA, everything. Michelle, only because I know you're not going to be at that many meetings, I wanted to personally thank you for this. Good work. And for that, I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Discussion, any comments?
Yes,
Work for the
I have a
city.
comment.
Member Saraki.
Mayor, I have one comment. Thank you, Al, for all your hard work on this, and your team is amazing. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councilmember Gannon. Council Member Gannon.
Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Now she's coming for you.
Vice Mayor. Out of order. I wanted to do that for a while.
That any company that I've ever worked for had a policy and procedure manual so comprehensive and so fantastically organized as this is. I am so proud of our city. Benefits that we offer to our staff are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. My kudos to Al for finding a way to make the numbers work, and Cindy and her staff for finding a way to make the numbers work, and Michelle for finding a way to word it so that they would make it work.
Remember I said they were a pain? Michelle's
Yes.
on that staff.
I don't doubt it.
Of course.
Doing her
Of
job
course.
then.
Any other comments?
Oh.
Nope.
Did you already go once? No. Okay, Councilmember Norris.
It's kind of like when we were on opposite ends. I just wanted to read this because this amazes me. Okay, so if the team invested 150 hours, but Michelle reviewed each policy, consulted with the city's labor attorney, and recommended language updates to the committee, including 5 fellow employees. How in the world could you even do that in 150 hours? That's amazing. So I think that it's wonderful, and I thank Al and everybody involved, and we take care of our employees. We love our employees. So good job, all.
Absolutely. I have a couple of comments. One, thank you. I had my notes to thank you as well, but it means more coming from Al that he's, a couple doors down from you. So I understand that. And, I'll say this in general, and I've had this discussion with Al, and I say this really for the benefit of the council, and that is, and our citizens. If you familiarize yourself really well with our charter, there is a real separation that takes place with the council and the staff, right? And so in my, call it interpretation of the charter, as well as my view of how the council should act, this falls in Al's area. If he comes to us and says, hey, this is what I really want to do, my questions are always the same. How does it impact the budget? How does this impact morale? I'm going to always defer to the people that we put in that position to go make those decisions. But I will also say this, that some of the things that these changes memorialize, because, the last time that was updated was 2014. So let's just put a little perspective on that, right? Helps, I think, put in writing something that makes us competitive or more competitive with the private market. And that's really important when we start looking at staff and wanting to retain key staff.
That's true.
And so that's a very important factor, that the byproduct of this effort. So I certainly salute y'all and love that it had very little economic impact. No, I'm just kidding. But in any event, so since you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes.
Thank you, Mayor. That's it.
You're quite welcome. City Clerk, item 15.
Item 15, appoint city council as a canvassing board for the March 17, 2020 special election. The city charter states that the city clerk shall transmit the election returns to the canvassing board as appointed by the city council or the city council sitting as a canvassing board. In lieu of city council serving as a canvassing board, the council may appoint a canvassing board to canvass the returns of a city election. Such canvassing board shall consist of 5 qualified electors of the city or 2 qualified electors and 1 or more members of the council, the total of which shall be 5 persons. Historically, council has appointed themselves as a canvassing board. There are no conflicts of interest for sitting council members with the March 2017 special election, and I recommend council appoint themselves as the canvassing board.
Well, is this really important?
Yes.
I love looking at the candidates club whenever I say things like that. The chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I suppose it would
And
be.
you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Is that all you got?
That's it, except I love, the thing about Alan, I just want to say this because then I'll know to end up in the minutes, is that he makes it a real family to work here. He's the glue behind everything, and that's just invaluable. And I really I love you, Al.
All right.
What? I didn't hear you. You said it again, please.
Very nice. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I still want you to bring your hearing aid when we meet, instead of leaving it off. No, you don't listen, but. All right, City Council, item 16, approve the tentative agenda for February 18th, 2020. Is there anybody who wishes to pull anything from the tentative agenda? Seeing none, is there anybody who wishes to add anything to the tentative agenda? Councilmember Saraki.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to add to the tentative agenda, canceling the July 7th City Council meeting, please.
Okay, does anyone have any objections to adding that to the tentative agenda before we vote? Okay, then I will include that in a motion, but I'm going to make it encumbersome. I would also like to add, you can tell it's the new year. I'd also like to add to the tentative agenda, Oldsmar Town Center Workshop, Phase 2. Add that on the agenda so that we can look for a date. Okay. Are there any other additions to the tentative agenda? Sensing none. I have a couple other items that I want to add.
She loves you too.
I'd also like to add, accept the resignation of Bob Little from the Code Enforcement Board, accept the resignation of Carmen Blatt from the Leisure Services Advisory Board. I'd also add to the agenda, like to add to the tentative agenda, approve out-of-state travel expenses for Councilmember Dan Saraki to attend the Washington, D.C. flying events in May and October as president. See, now I wanted to talk about this later. But as president of the Suncoast League of Cities. So I would like to add all of those items to the tentative agenda, and the chair will entertain a motion to approve the tentative agenda as amended at this time.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second, any other discussion? Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. All opposed, motion passes. Okay. Before I call on council members for their comments, I just want to kind of start off two things. Number one, I was hoping he was going to say something, but he didn't. I wanted to recognize Mayor Beavis' new role with the Chamber of Commerce that he graciously accepted. He's going to be working with them. He's going to be, I don't know how many hours he's putting in over there, but. Oh, a lot. A lot.
2. 3 maybe.
Some of you may know this, that Jerry Custon is retiring. And so the colonel is kind of landing the bird, for lack of a better word. And so he certainly will be missed. But Mayor Beavis has been asked to accept the role as Director of Business and Governmental Affairs, a job that he'll do outstanding. He's already on it all over the place. He's talked to me more than he did when he was mayor in the last few days on different ideas he has. So I just wanted to make a point of the council acknowledging him and congratulating him. I know he'll continue to do great things for the city and the businesses and citizens here in the community. So give him a round of applause. And before one other item that I would like to just congratulate, as some of you obviously know now, it's a huge honor. You know, the Florida League of Cities, the Florida League of Cities has local organizations, and we have one in Pinellas County called the Suncoast League of Cities. And so that is made up of council members from all the different cities here, all 24 cities across Pinellas County. And as some of you may know, that Councilmember Saraki has been an active member in that organization, as well as the Florida League of Cities. And he has gone up through the ranks and served as a vice president. And it's a real honor for the city to have, I think it's the first time since Janice Miller was president of the president of the Suncoast League of Cities. But Dan was just recently elected as the incoming president of the Suncoast League of Cities. So congratulations. Outstanding work there, as you do here in the city, and that's good for Oldsmar. I mean, that is good for Oldsmar.
It is.
You know, the days have changed where you served on council and you didn't leave the borders. It's just not the way it is anymore. And so That's good stuff. So with that, I'm going to start with my vice mayor for comments.
I am absolutely thrilled to hear that news, Councilmember Saraki.
Thank you.
I heard that thrown around a couple times. I said, we're approving something for the president of the Florida League, the Suncoast League of Cities. I said, there's an announcement coming, I hope. Listen, I wanted to thank everybody for coming out to the Women's Club Super Party. It was an unbelievable success. I certainly appreciate your attendance, especially Mr. Mayor. The turnout was fantastic. I'm sure we beat last year's attendance and last year's donations, which go to fund our operations and pay our bills at our little White House on Exeter Street. So thank you, everybody who made soup, brought bread, showed up, ate soup, or just, showed up and smiled like Al.
Oh, wait, I have to tell the story of that, though.
Do it.
Real
Tell
quickly.
it.
All right, so, when you're mayor and you go in there and people are, they appreciate you making the time to be there. And so when you're going and everybody makes their own soups, and so everyone kind of wants the mayor to try their soup.
Yes.
You put your bowl out there and you're like, okay, just a little.
Half a scoop.
Just a half a scoop, and they're going, oh, you really got to try that. And you're like, oh yeah, okay. And so
You reuse your bowl.
you reuse the bowl. You got to go. I kept washing it out, but if I got home, Amber said, "You hungry?" I'm like, "Oh no." Skipping dinner too. So anyhow, it was great.
It was fantastic, and we really appreciate everyone's support. I wanted to thank the members of the Ordinance Review Committee and city staff and our city attorney for their hard work on that. I was looking at the most recent agenda, which came out last week, and there's some heavy lifting going on there, some really heavy lifting by the folks who are reviewing, dozens upon dozens of pages of our code. And looking for small things, but things that matter, things that need to be updated. And I cannot wait, in my dorky little way, for the eventual summation that will come to us, because it's important to me that we see it through and that we make sure that everything we have is current, from our codes to our policies and procedures and handbooks. It really does mean something to me. And at this meeting and at our January meetings, this time of year, we reappoint a lot of folks to our volunteer boards. And again, we appointed a lot tonight, or reappointed some folks, and we're seeing some turnover on those boards, which is great. That's fine. New faces, new ideas, new thoughts. And I just want to thank everybody who volunteers to be on those boards. Bless you. Bless you. It's only a couple hours out of your month usually, or out of a quarter, and it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And you become one of our ambassadors. You're an ambassador for the city. And it just, I love seeing those appointments, and I love when people come to be reappointed or appointed for the first time. It's pretty cool. Just kind of a side note, because I want to end on happy news. I was really sad to see that Earth Fare, the organic grocer chain, which is located at the Woodland Square Plaza, the parent company is actually going through a bankruptcy proceeding and will be closing all of its stores, not just the one here in Oldsmar. Contrary to random rumor, the city had nothing to do with their bankruptcy or their leaving. We are very sad to see them go. It had nothing to do with permitting or zoning or anything that the city did. We did not do anything to Earth Fare. I just want to make that very clear. I am personally sad to see them go, because I very much enjoyed their stuff. All their pre-made things. I'll leave Dan to talk about the sadness of missing the food. But I look forward to seeing a new tenant there. I doubt that spot will stay empty for long. That's a very, very busy plaza these days. It has completely turned around from a decade ago. So I'm looking forward to seeing something new. And I wanted to end on something fantastic. I just want to congratulate the Administrative Services team on yet another award for their work. Thank you so much. And Michelle, thank you so much for your hard work on our policies and procedures. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. I encourage everybody to register to vote before the deadline.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Grimes.
In our last meeting, it was brought up with regard to the Oldsmar Days and Nights Parade that we should consider using eco-friendly beads. I went back to the board. It is now part of their application. They have placed, please use eco-friendly beads to throw as part of their information.
Cool.
Good job.
Is that mean we can eat them?
Maybe.
can if you want.
Or chocolate ones.
God, don't put them in soup.
Or in Dan's car.
That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And last Tuesday, I was at an event in Tampa and was speaking to this woman, and she kept saying, "You look so familiar." And I've grown up here, so I was kind of like, okay, maybe I'm going through things. And I said, "Well, where do you live?" And she says, "Oh, I live in Oldsmar." And I said, "Oh, I live in Oldsmar." And all of a sudden, this light bulb's like, she goes, "You're on council?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "I watch all the meetings on TV."
Nice.
And I thought, excellent.
Wow.
And she says, "I just want to say it is so refreshing to see all of you get along so well and put the city first." And I made a comment. I said, politically we, one pendulum swing to the next where we all sit. I said, but we all love our city. And she said, it is so evident in how you govern. So I wanted to share that with all of you and let you know.
Sandy. Very nice. Nice story. Good.
And she's watching tonight.
Thank you, Sarah.
That was Grimes' mom who said it, though, but
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
From beyond.
I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. Is that it?
You're just a comedian tonight.
Councilmember Norris.
He's on a roll.
Oh, boy.
I guess I need to catch up on Facebook. Congratulations, Mayor Beavis, for being on the, I didn't know Jerry retired. I didn't know
He
you
hasn't
were
yet.
President
Hasn't
of
yet,
the
but he's
Suncoast
retired.
League. That's amazing. You've been working for that for years.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Linda.
And I heard it in your poem, and just like Vice Mayor Gannon, I'm like, I heard it in the poem, then I heard it, and I'm like, what? So, I know. So, and of course, 28 years, you guys, and Michelle, you guys are awesome. It is. Okay, so last time I told you guys that I couldn't go to the super party because I was going to a chromosome reveal. It's a boy, yes, and they're going to name him Eric Andrew Donahue. And
God, that
it's-
is such an honor.
Well, check this out, Mayor. Check
do
this
that while
out.
I'm drinking
So
water.
it's in Gainesville, and I had not met the other grandparents, okay, because the grandparents on my side, of course I know them, and I'm just chatting with these people, and they're asking me why my name is Kalinda. I'm Kalinda everywhere other than Oldsmar. I'm Linda in Oldsmar. And I said, oh, well, I'm on the city council in my little town, and they said, oh, okay, well, where do you live? And when I'm out of town, I just say, between Tampa and Clearwater, because it's easier than saying Oldsmar and then going into all that. And they said, well, where do you live? And I said, oh, a beautiful town named Oldsmar. And they said, we live in Oldsmar.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So what a small world, right? And it was just beautiful. And they named, okay, so Anna and Josh are the pregnant couple that are having the baby, that are naming their baby Eric Andrew. And when I asked where the name came from, Josh had a baby brother that passed away, named Eric Andrew. So they're naming their son Eric Andrew. And I was on the winning team. I was on Team XY. I guessed the right amount of M&Ms. It was just an awesome, awesome, awesome gender reveal. So if y'all are ever invited to a gender reveal, they're really, really cool. And there was a little Oldsmar element to it, so that was cool.
Nice.
And that's it. I don't really have anything else, Mayor. I know that's hard for you to believe, but.
Yeah. Councilmember Saraki, I'll just give you a hard time.
I know.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week I was in Tallahassee and I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Julia Neswat. She is the Chief Resiliency Officer for the Office of the Governor, Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis appointed her as our new resiliency officer for the state. I sat down with her and for about a 10-minute meeting, which was absolutely amazing. I'm still in shock. We talked about our city. We talked about how we have our own reclaimed water plant. We have our own sewer plant. We talked about our reverse osmosis plant, one of the first ones in the city. We talked about, or it's in the state. Thank you, Tom. We talked about how we were first in Pinellas to have a sub-sustainability coordinator, first in Pinellas County. We host the Drive Electric car show since 2014. First to have electric car charging stations in Pinellas County. That's just to name a few. She replied, you have a very unique city in our state. So that meeting went really well. My goal to meet with her was to offer our assistance as a city to help other cities in the state do the same. Be advanced water treatment plant cities, anything we can do. So I volunteered my time to help with her new role. And she's got some great ideas of how she's gonna get our local city involved, all the cities in Pinellas County and Hillsborough County around the state, and get them involved. So I just wanted to share that with you. That was a great meeting for not only myself, but our city. And Oldsmar is getting well known in Tallahassee, by the way, Mayor. Thank you so much for your comments about being the president. I want to invite everyone right now, before I forget, it's going to be on May 16th. May 16th. It's at Bascom's Chop House. It's going to be the Suncoast League of Cities Legislative Award Dinner. I will be sworn in as president, and Jamie Grant hopefully is going to come, and Ed Hooper. I've been talking with them to be there, and I would love Ann, Kathy, Linda, all of us, Al, Tom, if you can come. I would greatly appreciate the support of the city, and anyone else who would like to come from the city be there. That's going to be an exciting day for our city. Next week is Legislative Week in Tallahassee. I'm going back for my third time this year, and that is for the Florida League of Cities. I have a board meeting, and it's exciting what's going on up there for our city. I just wanted to share that with you. Last but not least, I want to say congratulations to Cindy and your team for your hard work. 28 years is incredible. I've almost been here 28 years, so you've been starting that before I even moved here. And Michelle, a year and a half being here in the city of Oldsmar. I briefly went through what your hard work, thank you so much. It means so much to me, and I know the rest of the council. And last but not least, don't forget, this Saturday I'm cooking hamburgers and hot dogs, Buffalo hot dogs, Buffalo hamburgers from Buffalo, New York. Don't miss it. I'm grilling. Come out to the picnic.
At the Oldsmar Historical Society picnic.
Yeah, and it's gonna be, when you go down to the pier, where we have that big, right next door to the pier, so I hope everyone can come out for a hot dog and a hamburger.
How about a veggie burger? Can have those on the
I'll
menu.
make one for you.
Okay.
If you're coming,
I'll be there.
I'll buy them. All right. Veggie burgers too.
Look at Eric.
Skip the veggie burgers, no offense. I'm gonna go all in.
And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I actually have quite a few items. I'm going to go through them quickly. I also wanted to comment on the Ordinance Review Committee and the hard work they're doing. I was talking to Tom, and I always ask this question, are they showing up prepared? Are they ready? Are they prepared? He said, not only are they prepared, but they also, in the parts that they're being assigned, they're investing the time to go meet with staff that's relevant to those parts. So they're speaking very well prepared and educated. And so Tom has been very impressed with their diligence and the work that's getting done. The fact that they're all prepared is part of the reason they're going through it so quickly. And so I don't know if you had any comment you want to make regard to that, you're welcome to do so.
Well, that's why I mentioned it to you. I mean, I've done this in many cities for many, many years, and this group gets it. I enjoy working with them. They're all intense. They're very concerned. They've read everything. They meet with city staff. They're doing a hell of a job. We're moving through it very, very quickly, and probably we'll finish up in the next couple of months. We met last night, but I'm really impressed.
It's amazing that they're getting through it that fast. It's been a while since we did it. That old administration, they didn't even address this. They just, what? What was that I heard?
Yes, we did.
And Tom's impressed because he actually used the word hell up here, which I don't think I've ever heard, so that's amazing. But I appreciate their hard work. I also wanted to comment on the art exhibit tonight. If you didn't make it over there, it's an art exhibit for it's photography, and it's really some terrific, amazing photos. And Lisa worked very hard on putting that together, so make a point of going over and checking it out. I know a bunch of council was over there earlier, and those will be up until, I think we said, April 3rd or April 4th, but get over there and take a look. I'm going to be in Tallahassee next week, I'm going there specifically with the purpose of meeting with both our Senator Ed Hooper, Senator Hooper, and Representative Jamie Grant. As some of you know, last year, Representative Grant did file an appropriations bill for $1 million to assist us in the Douglas Road project. And both he and Senator Hooper made it their top priority, especially top priority in transportation. And of course, that was not vetoed. I think it was one of two appropriations on the local level that was not vetoed in Pinellas County. And there was, I think, a couple, like 22 different requests. In any event, that was last year. This is this year. And so the goal of going up there is to, reaffirm the commitment from our elected officials. They are firmly committed, talking to their staff. Things have changed a little bit this year. I would not expect that we will get that $1 million appropriations. I will say Representative Grant did file another appropriations bill. However, it was not read by the chair, which generally means that it's not going to happen. And the reason for it was the question they raised was where were we at on phase one? Because it was for phase one, and we were applying for a grant for phase two. And so, it just doesn't move that fast. We don't, we've got a process to go through, a bill design to go through, not to mention we're partnering also with grant money that's coming from the Florida Department of Transportation. Mm-hmm. And so there's some other moving parts, so it doesn't move that fast. However, they are going to work on some other things, and our lobbyists up there, I'm going to meet with them while we're there. My purpose of going up there is specifically to work on those, and also maybe have some education on what we're doing on downtown, just showing them, kind of updating them our phase one concept and so forth, and phase two, and seeing if there's any opportunities where they could maybe provide some assistance and look for some opportunities for us in that area as well. But so I'll be up there. I did want to show you all, and I'm going to be presenting this on behalf of, I'm going to be presenting this on behalf of the council and the staff to Senator Hooper for his office. And then it has City of Oldsmar down at the bottom. And then this, I think, is going to Representative Grant for his office.
Beautiful.
Right? And so we're going to make sure while they're there every day,
They're reminded.
Smart.
they're looking at the City of Oldsmar, baby. And so that's being presented on behalf of our citizens and our staff and the council as well. So I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. Next item is relevant to Tallahassee. We did send a letter to Governor DeSantis specifically talking about the recent The World is Your Market seminar that we put on with Florida Enterprise. Some of you may know Florida Enterprise's budget last year was taken out, put back in. The governor fought really hard to get it back in. And so it's kind of a follow-up, because I believe that Florida Enterprise finds themselves in the same position this year of there being a fight kind of taking place as to whether or not it should be funded. The letter we're sending is talking about, and I'll make sure council, I have a copy to pass around, but I'll just have it sent out email-wise since it's the end of the meeting. But we sent a letter to the governor telling him about the success that we had and how his effort to fund that program is having an impact on the local level, how it's impacting local government by us, with our chamber, putting on an event to connect them and their services to our local manufacturers here in Oldsmar. And because sometimes I think the numbers in Tallahassee may not completely get connected to the impact on the ground. And we're certainly a great example of manufacturing and how that can really benefit a city like Oldsmar, and there are other cities like ours. So I wanted to make you aware of that, that we've sent that off, and there's some other backup to it and photographs, because that was a good program that was put on, and there's kind of a phase two to it, as I believe, as well. All right, next item I have I'm going to comment on Earth Fair a little bit. I was over there and met with the manager, who's the HR manager actually over there. And they didn't see it coming. So they pretty much found out about it about the same time everybody else did. And even the property management company over there, who I know really well, because we have a company that's opening up over there that we own. They found out about it when they got their news alert from the way I found out about it from the Tampa Bay Business Journal.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, it's real nice. Our largest tenant. We found out while I'm reading coffee, or having coffee. Here's the thing, you know, it's heartbreaking that there's going to be about 80 plus jobs lost.
Yeah.
And so that's not something that, you know, beyond the convenience of having their good products available to our citizens, people are losing work. So you're looking for somebody, maybe reach over to their HR and let them know. Maybe help some of those people land softly. They're no longer ordering new product except produce. And while there's no certainty, I think the guesstimate would mean that that stock and inventory will run very quickly. The liquidators were already on site. And so that's going to happen, I would suggest, probably pretty quick. I did let them know if there's anything the city can do to be supportive or assist in potentially helping somebody else step in, that the city has that right kind of attitude, that we want to be helpful. Hear it directly from the mayor while we're there, and this is going on. So they were very appreciative of that, and certainly, we hope for the best. Here, not that there's, any good news in this, but at least as it relates to the location here in Oldsmar, because this is an important question, I asked was that how they were performing financially. And they felt that they were actually performing quite well. So Earth Fair as a whole is shutting all locations nationwide. And they're like 1974, I think, is when they were first founded. So they've been around for a long time. It's a much bigger problem that they ran into, not necessarily just here in Tampa Bay or specifically here in Oldsmar. So I also believe that space won't be vacant long. I know the property management company is very aggressive, and hopefully it happens quicker and sooner, and some of those people maybe even get saved in the process. So in any event. Next item, Comic-Con. For those of you who weren't able to attend it, I just got to give it a plug. We had it at the library. I went from eating soup to Comic-Con that day, and I will tell you, I was really impressed. I mean, that's not really my gig. I don't have, I'm kind of a black and white kind of guy, like it's not Halloween. But I look at people like, but it was very entertaining. It was a lot of fun. We had some good vendors there for the first year. Anthony did a terrific job of putting that together. And I love seeing, an asset like the library being used for different purposes that attract different audiences as well and keeps it energetic. So I just had to mention that because it was a lot of fun. And so anyhow, make sure you're out there next year. Little League, February 15th. Is anybody here going?
I am.
Plan on going.
I'm sponsoring a team, so I'll be there.
Okay, everybody, if you can, you can. I'm throwing the pitch. I've agreed to do so. Then you're coming?
With your good shoulder or your?
I don't really have a good shoulder, but I'm throwing a pitch. I expect to put a little more heat on it than our last mayor did. So, okay, I just wanted to make sure everybody had that. Serious note, I didn't talk about this at the last meeting because I wanted permission to do so first. On January 7th this year, as many of you know, a young man who's a local kid here, Jack Martin, who's 13 years old, took his life. And it would appear by all indications it was a result of cyberbullying. we hear about these things in the news and we, maybe read about them in the paper and we go, can't happen here. Well, it's happened here. And so, we can't have that happen again. I mean, I attended the services, as some of you know, up here on representing the council, and it was just, was horrible. Yeah. I know there were some people there who are here tonight. I've had the opportunity to have some ongoing communications and conversations with Liz and Paul Martin, who are Jack's parents, and they have taken this and amazing, really, how they have taken this and have that motivation to make sure that it doesn't happen again, and they have started OperationJacksVillage.org, OperationJacksVillage.org. Go look it up, see how you can help. And one of the things, and there's organizations that have addressed these issues and tackled these issues in communities in other parts of the country. And so we've been working together a little bit, and I'm going to lend whatever value the mayor's title brings to helping their efforts. And when the time's right, I'll make sure that the council members know, because I have no doubt they want to be involved in that as well. And our initial thoughts are that, and this has been replicated in many places with other organizations that I think we end up kind of partnering with. They end up partnering with. I don't want to make it sound like I'm a driver on it. I'm just helping organize, right? And that is, the goal we have is to host a community summit on the prevention of youth suicide. And it's done in other communities, and you bring together many different stakeholders. And there is a process you go through where you can kind of educate and talk about action steps and those types of things to make an impact. And so I did have a chance to speak with Amy from Nielsen today, and they immediately, of course, will host it, the way they are over there. But talk to your kids. The people at home, the people here, talk to your kids. Not just about, because listen, this was a happy kid. This was not a kid who was depressed or dealing with, a drug problem or something along that lines. I mean, this was a happy young man that they had absolutely no indication. And we forget what social media is like to a teenager these days. It's just, it can be brutal. And, not only talk to your kids about it, but talk to them about not doing it. Making sure they understand the impact of their words and when it's put online, what it does to other kids. And, I hate this. I hate this. I hate it for this family. I hate it for this community. We can't say it doesn't happen here. It does. We just need to make damn sure it doesn't happen again. And so I heartfelt praise for the Martins and what they're doing with this, because they're committed to making sure it doesn't happen here again. And so,
Mayor, could you repeat the website, please?
yes, it's OperationJacksVillage.org.
Operation or Shuns? OperationJacksVillage.org?
Operation.
Thank you.
It takes a village, and that's where they've got that kind of mindset from. So in any event, I wanted to talk about it. I was going to talk about it last time. I didn't feel comfortable because and actually Liz and Paul were here at the last meeting. And so, but I wanted to talk to them first before saying anything about it publicly, and they're pretty amazing folks. So keep that on your radar and see what you can do to help. They're going to probably need some money for help on doing some of these things. So Let's dig in as a community, like we do. And so with that, I hate to, end the meeting on a somber note, but it's a real note. And so on a more lighter note, former Vice Mayor Gabby McGee, because her and I have been messaging a lot lately, because now I can actually talk to her. No sunshine rule applies anymore, especially with her in Barcelona. She's loving Barcelona. I think she's missing Oldsmar a little bit, just saying. And she's missing the council and the staff and the citizens, and she wanted me to send a heartfelt hello to everybody. So I told her I would do that.
Nice.
So on that note, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Doesn't require a vote. We're adjourned.